So it's now time to start adding some style to our application, and what we have at the moment is just a big old list of activities and not a lot else going on, along with this pretty horrible detailed views, and we can do a lot better. So first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at our activity items. Our activity list is currently responsible for displaying the list of items, and it's also got the JSX in there for the items themselves. Now what we really want to do is break out these items into their own components and then loop over these inside our activity list. So let's start with that, and we'll go to our client app, and in the source folder, in the features, in the activities, and then in the dashboard, let's create a new component for our activity list items. So I'm just going to create a new file and call it activity list item.tsx and press return, and just make a normal functional component from this. And what we'll do is we'll take our activity list item and we'll cut it from here and just paste it into our activity list item. So I'll just cut the item in its entirety and then head over to my activity list item and just paste it in here. And we'll need to bring in the imports for Semantic UI. So I'm just going to head over to the activity list and just copy these imports from Semantic UI and just paste them into my activity list item. And we don't need the segment, so I'll remove this and just reformat. And we also need to bring in the link from React Router DOM. And we also need to bring in our other elements here as well. Now we've got some stuff coming in from the activity store, the target, the delete activity method, and the submitting. So what we can do here is we can just go straight to our store to bring those in. And really we're just doing this temporarily just to get rid of these warnings. But let's go to the activity list, and I'm just going to copy the activity store, the use context, as well as the destructured properties, and just paste these as well into my activity list item. And we'll also need to bring in the context, so I'll bring this in, and we'll also need to bring in our activity store. So once again, I'm just going to copy things across to save a little bit of typing, and we don't need the activity by date in here. Now we've also got in here some imports from our activity store, the target, the delete activity, and the submitting. And we're not going to allow our users to delete the activities from an activity list. That's going to be moved outside of here into something that the user that created the activity is only allowed to do. So we're not going to display a delete button on our activities. That was purely to demonstrate CRUD functionality. And what we want to do is pass in our activity from our activity list, and we'll add our activity list items into our activity list and loop over these. So each time we loop, we display an activity list item, and we just need to pass the activity down to our activity list item. And we also need to give this a key as well, otherwise React is going to complain. So let's give it a key of the activity ID. And let's go across to our activity list item and tell it about the props it's receiving. So let's go to this, and what we need to do is say this is a React functional component. And inside the type parameters, rather than creating an interface, all I'm going to do is just create an object and specify activity of type iActivity. And then I can make use of this in the destructured props and just say activity. And this should now be fully functional. So I'll just reformat slightly and take a look and make sure that everything is still working. And it is. And what we want to take a look at next is having a way to group our activities by dates. And we'll take a look at that next.